In Peter Pan, it's Captain Hook's mischievous parrot who tries to warn the Jolly Roger of Peter's tricks. Today there's a new type of parrot up to no good in London, the parakeet. Once an exotic bird of Africa's warmer climes, the ringneck parakeet is now a mainstay of London's parks, but nobody's quite sure how they ended up here. That hasn't stopped some theories about how they got here, involving some very well-known people. Jimi Hendrix is probably most famous for bringing psychedelic rock to London, but that's not the only thing he brought to the capital. He also brought a pair of breeding parakeets to London's famous Carnaby Street in 1968 and let them loose, leaving some people to claim his responsibility for the parakeet invasion. That's not the only celebrity involved though. Even the late George Michael has been blamed for a parakeet great escape from his North London home. Another popular theory is that the birds escaped from the set of the 1951 film The African Queen. It's fair to say then that rumours of how the parakeets arrived in London have spread almost as wildly as the birds themselves. Whatever the real reason, the parakeet is here to stay. But how was this bird able to adapt so easily to life in England? And what does it mean for the city's other resident birds? To find out more about how parakeets affect the local wildlife and ecology, we spoke to Paul Joyce, a senior ecologist and a volunteer at the Royal Society of Ornithology.
The negative effects that parrots have on the local ecosystem in London are not fully understood because in a way their invasion is quite recent, but we do know some things, which is that they compete with birds such as woodpeckers and small birds that make holes in trees because they're called secondary hole nesting species. They don't make their own tree holes. I think the first breeding record for ringneck parakeet was 1855. But the big influx of birds came in the late 1960s and 1970s. Invasive non-native species are changing our ecosystems at a greater rate now than they ever have done because we're bringing these animals and plants at greater speeds across the globe. Do parakeets have any prey in this country? Well, they're mainly fruit and seed eaters. So what they're doing is they're taking fruits from trees in our parks and on our roadsides. They're taking parts of crops on the edges of London. They're taking other food items that really we provide. But in terms of their effect on other birds and other animals, it's really competing for space and competing for resources. That's how they're affecting the ecosystem. My bird feeder in my back garden is often supporting a parakeet. So that doesn't mean you should take your feeders down because they're still used and they support our bird life. And we know how important they are. So they do have predators. Sparrowhawks will take them and also peregrines will take them. And I've seen that myself when I've been working. Sometimes you'll see a sparrowhawk go after a ringneck. Are the parakeets friends or foe? Well, I mean, they really are both, unfortunately. I have to sit on the fence there. I mean, they have the potential to affect species which are part of our natural fauna that we want to keep. We don't want parakeets to eradicate another species that's natural. So we may be living with these birds, and that is one opinion about invasive non-natives, is now we do have to live with these animals and we have to see how beautiful they are as well.
Friend or foe, you decide. One thing's for sure though, they're not shy, so keep an eye out next time you're munching a snack and you hear that inimitable high-pitched squawk. It's all on your head.